yeah, savoir, we love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In this bulletin, rights need to be protected, says Raj. Unscrupulous traders continue to cause havoc.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Ateda Lendua.
The 41-year-old government member of parliament who is allegedly involved in a case of domestic violence has been granted bail. Rohit Ritesh Sharma was produced at the Nasinu Magistrates Court this morning. Sharma is charged with one count of assault causing actual bodily harm. It is alleged that he assaulted his wife on Sunday at their home in the WYCLIFFE housing. Bail has been set at $1,000. The charge was read to Sharma and was understood by the alleged offender. The magistrates has issued an interim restraining order whereby Sharma is ordered not to recommit the same offence. The MP has also been ordered to surrender his travelling documents and not to interfere with the prosecution witnesses. Fundamental rights and freedoms must be protected at all times. Human Rights Commission Director Ashwin Raj says while the focus has been on law enforcement agencies to ensure they are following the law to the letter, there is also a collective responsibility by all Fijians. Raj says given the suspension of some human rights in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's imperative that everyone acts responsibly.
It also means that citizens, ordinary Fijians, have a part to play. They need to be responsible, they need to, observe the rule of law, they need to make sure that they're not necessarily putting themselves out there, in harm's way that not only exposes them to the risk of, harm, but also results in the diminution of rights and freedoms of other people. So, at this point, in terms of the relationship between rule of law and human rights and all of that, everyone's got a part to play.
Unscrupulous traders continue to amaze the Consumer Council with their deceitful acts. However, this time the council has received complaints against a prominent fast food chain outlet. Council Chief Executive Seema Shandil says apart from expired products, they have come across several other issues. The Chief Executive says the outlet was found tampering with expiry dates of sachets of ketchup. Meanwhile, the council made over 397 trader visits and market surveillances in the last 2 months and has issued more than 100 warning letters.
Yeah, there was an expiry date, and then on top of that expiry date, the other expiry date was being pasted just to because it has already expired and they wanted to get rid of the stock, so they pasted a new expiry date.
The Environment Ministry has amended its environmental impact assessment application guidelines for project owners and their respective consultants. Permanent Secretary Joshua WYCLIFFE says this is to ensure consultants focus on their areas of expertise and will ensure effective facilitation of EIA applications. In an effort to reduce misinformation, the ministry has been more attentive in vetting applications received and disseminating accurate information to clients.
And I've noticed there's been a lot of mismanagement of information between the Ministry of Environment and the actual proponent, and the linkage between these two are the consultants.
The Health Ministry remains proactive in ensuring there are no outbreaks of leptospirosis, typhoid and dengue. Minister Dr. Ifremi Wanganambete says Fiji needs to keep these diseases at bay with an aim of eradicating them so they can continue to focus on fighting COVID-19. Fiji has recorded 791 cases of dengue fever as of the 25th of last month. There have also been 278 confirmed cases of leptospirosis and 77 cases of typhoid. 10 Fijians have died from leptospirosis since last year.
We sort of plateaued it, and the curve is actually going down in terms of the numbers that we have. I've talked about how the numbers now are not as significant as it is before. But having said that, we really have to make sure that we work together collaboratively so that we don't have outbreaks.
Protests erupted for the 7th day across the U.S. over the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man, at the hands of a police officer in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This comes on the day an independent autopsy found Floyd died from asphyxiation, from sustained pressure. And tight schedule for Basketball Fiji.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
The Fiji National Rugby League was impressed to see how players returned to the NRL last week. The new Kaiviti Silktails head coach, Wes Naingama, says he's really impressed.
It was extra pleasing to see the Fiji boys all perform really well, you know. I think that can be like a blueprint for boys that have had this sort of time off in this COVID period. The way that these NRL boys came back and performed over the weekend, they didn't miss a beat, you know. You wouldn't even think that they're out of training out of home for the last 6 or 8 weeks.
Basketball Fiji has a tight schedule for the next half of the year as plans are in place to have national teams back on the court once restrictions are lifted.
An international event for an under-18. It's a qualifying event to the World Cup for the under-16s. The under-15 Oceania qualifiers will be held in Papua New Guinea in the month of December.
Fans could be back watching Super Rugby in a flash by as early as round 3 if the franchises in New Zealand get their way. The 5 Kiwi teams are planning to open their stadiums at the first opportunity, with the active number of COVID-19 cases in the country standing at just 1. Expect a mixture of sun and showers this afternoon. Another cool night and partly cloudy weather tomorrow with a chance of rain. And that's your FBC News now. Join us again at 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. In times of crisis, you need news you can trust. Fight fake news by getting the facts about the coronavirus from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio and digital media news, www.fbcnews.com.fj, keeping Fijians connected with the truth. Enjoy your lunch.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.